Will you commit to not drinking? Will you commit to not drinking on the job?
Oh my God. We actually have to ask a nominee for Secretary of Defense if he would commit to not drinking on the job. That was the question that was shouted at him when he turned, on his little loafer there and just scooted away. No more questions. Thank you. Go listen to Megyn Kelly's podcast. All right. Worst answer ever.
Some of those attachments.
Sorry, that's his mother. His mother was on Fox News too. This is an all hands on deck thing. Okay, so here's Megyn Kelly's podcast. She said, "What about your drinking problem? Do you worry about that?"
They're not upset about your drinking?
You know what? There's an interesting one there. First of all, I've never had a drinking problem. No one's ever approached me and said, "Oh, you should really look at getting help for a drink." Never. I've never sought counseling, never sought help. I respect and appreciate people who do. But what do guys do when they come back from war? Oftentimes, have some beers.
Beers?
How do you deal with the demons you see on the battlefield? Sometimes it's with a bottle. Unfortunately, tragically, for too many guys, it's with the bottle, and then it's depression, and even worse, suicide. I mean, we've got an epidemic of that in our country. Thank God, by the grace of God, I found my chapters of purpose that pulled me out of that.
So you got a job at Fox News is what pulled you out of it. Is he saying that it's that when guys come home, women too? Well, he doesn't think women should be in combat, but we should run this by Tammy Duckworth and find out if she's entered into the bottle after she lost both her legs. I think she entered into in vitro fertilization. I think that's what she entered into, and decided that she was going to start a family. However, in Hegseth's world, it's perfectly permissible to crawl into a bottle if you come home from service and you are suffering from PTSD instead of getting help for PTSD, which people do all the time. Now, what's really fascinating about him is that 10 of his coworkers at Fox News, 10 of them were very interested in talking about how, when he came to work at 6 a.m., because it was a weekend morning show, starts at 6 a.m. on your TV, which means you should be there by 4, okay? It really does mean that. Just so you know, I used to do mornings. I didn't last very long because of the schedule. But yes, you need to be at work by 4:30 the latest, right? Especially, this was radio, okay, for me. But this is television for him, which means makeup. It means hair. It means running through several topics because you're working on a team. It means producers, executive. Radio means none of this, okay? None of this actually occurs. It's just, oh my God, here we go. And 5, 4, 3, 2, go. Right? One day I wanted to freak somebody out so bad, and I said, they go, there's nothing to your job. So I waited until I'm going to say 30 seconds before air. I got up out of my seat and I go, sit down, sit in that chair. And they freaked out. What do you mean? What do you mean? See, it's not so easy. Okay, but he has to be on the TV, which means a lot of prep, okay? And he would come in at 5 seconds to 6, according to 10 of his colleagues, okay? Smelling of alcohol from the night before they guessed, or having had alcohol before 6 a.m. 10 people have said that about him, 10. Listen, this is just so bogus. This is so, and of course, he said that he spoke to Donald Trump. He finally appeared today on camera. He said he had spoken to Donald Trump today, and that Donald Trump just told him, keep on going, keep on going. He's being led out to pasture. You understand that, right? And so now we're talking about who could possibly be the replacement, just like Matt Gaetz. And I'm telling you right now, Tulsi Gabbard, Hegseth, I told you this yesterday and the day before. The idea that we're supposed to have spasms when we hear these names of ill-prepared people with various problems with regard to women, drinking, no experience, running anything bigger than, a garage band, right, or a platoon, now being in charge of, 1 million or 2 million employees and, a chain of command and, just all of this, right? Don't freak out. because this is really just a head fake so that the billionaires will look palatable and better. That's what this is. And you know, I keep on trying to explain to you that the billionaire class is taking over this country, and that is what this is about. And if we push back too hard against the billionaire class, well, then he needs a friendly at the Department of Defense. He needs somebody that isn't going to question whether or not it's legal to have martial law in the United States. And the answer is no, it isn't. Whether it's legal to have the American military deploy against Americans. No, it's not. There you go. So, you know, there's so many things that would have to take place over a long ass period of time for any of this to be, I don't know, remotely okay. Because it isn't. And in case you were wondering, like, who pushes back on Donald Trump trying to declare martial law, you understand what martial law means, right? First of all, let's just understand the words we're using, because Insurrection Act and martial law, not the same. Martial law means the courts are now, you know, controlled by the military. Everything is controlled by the military. They're on the street keeping you in your house. You can't leave your house. That would never happen in this country, okay? We have too much of a decentralized government. Think about it this way. You know how when we have an election, we don't have one election, we have 50 different elections, and that the states each run their own elections? That's kind of how courts are in this country, too. We do have one federal court, but we also have several state courts, like 50 of them, okay? And 50 state Supreme Courts and 50 state governors who are, in essence, the chief executive of that state. And because we have a decentralized way of self-governing, the odds that we would ever see martial law declared in this country and upheld by anybody, let alone a governor or a state court or a deployment in your state or my state, even if you had a Republican governor, okay, even if you did, there's just no way. There's no way. That's why people are so concerned with who gets the Secretary of Defense position, because that person might just try to push out, you know, just some sort of martial look and law thing. And Hegseth would be the perfect guy to do it, right? There are other, you know, cheap picks too. And so now all of a sudden, you know, you're starting to hear some that make sense and some that don't. So let's deal with the one that doesn't make sense. Well, Hegseth obviously doesn't make any sense to anybody, not even, you know, the Republican senators. And there's a lot of pushback on this nomination, just as there was against Matt Gaetz, right? And some people are like, you know, starting to get hip to the fact that this is all a head fake anyway, and that there will be, you know, like within 30 seconds, there will be a new name floated if, you know, there seems to be no will to confirm this guy, Hegseth. His name is unpronounceable. I can't go through 4 years with it. But okay.